myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you.
Hello, welcome to NUFC Matters. Thought I better start the show a bit quieter because there'll be a few hangovers out there today. Welcome to NUFC Matters. It's Monday night. It's the fans forum. It's your chance to have a say. The link's in the chat if you want to jump on tonight. Newcastle United at Wembley at the weekend. Didn't go our way. 2-0 defeat to Manchester United. And it's over, George. It's over. The trip to Wembley. 24 years we waited for it. Didn't go our way. What was your thoughts, mate, sitting at home?
Well, I think, from the off, I was always very positive that it would be 2-0, but 2-0 to us, not to them. Lots of positives in the sense that we didn't play too badly. In fact, there were periods of the game where we outshone them. I mean, if you look at the stats on possession and things like that, we're miles ahead, but one or two people didn't turn up, for me anyway, and that was crucial. Chances that we did get were far and few between, but when we got them, we didn't take them. And the difference is that they got two chances, and well, they took one, and the second one, well, if it hadn't hit Botman, it would have hit the bloody corner flag. It wouldn't even got in the goal, never mind anything else. But the deflection of Botman was enough to change it to go into the back of the net. So, and then the other thing is, and I get sick of this with Manchester United and other teams. Casemiro, once again, third game in a row, an over-the-top tackle, which doesn't even get reviewed. I mean, he should have been sent off. That tackle on Bruno it was worse than the tackle that Bruno got sent off for, and yet it didn't even get reviewed because it's Manchester United. But that could be people saying, well, that's sour grapes for me. On the day, the team that scored the goals won. And I've got to say, on the whole, they looked the better team, but there was one or two good performances for us. I thought Trippier had his best game for ages, and some of those cross balls in the first 20 minutes that were skidding across the penalty area start to make me ask questions about our centre forward. What the hell's he doing? Where's he playing? And I think that's an area where we need to have another look as a club, is get ourselves a proper centre forward, because Carol Wilson's just not cutting it at the moment. Bruno, considered a three-match lead-off, didn't do too badly, but he's well and truly marshalled and kicked by Manchester United. They're taking turns at taking him out of the game. Sean Longstaff was got at very early as well, after making a reasonable start. And one or two disappointments. Well, I've mentioned Wilson. Big Joe, I wondered where he was some of the time. He was seemed to be missing. I'd like to have seen one or two more dead bodies on the pitch at Wembley in black and white shirts, to be honest. Just trying that little bit harder. But on the whole, a great weekend for us as fans, to demonstrate once again that another fan group can touch you when we want to do something like that. And somebody said earlier when we were talking before we came on, that last few minutes when we're 2-0 down and all those black and white flags were waving again, and even the commentators had to break away from the game and show the flags waving while we were still cheering. I thought that was fantastic. And for once, Gary Neville had something nice to say about it, saying about how he'd seen all the fans in Trafalgar Square and how he no doubt that sooner or later we would have something to cheer in the end. So a great weekend of football, but a disappointing result. And that's life at the moment. But I think it showed us one or two areas where the club's got to think about real thoughts about strengthening. And I'm not sure we've got those positions right at the moment. So otherwise, I enjoyed it.
I've got to be honest. I wowould agree with you on your assessment, George. From my time at the game yesterday, I think it's the same old story. If we ever have a team as good as our supporters, then we will start winning things.
Yeah,
I think
unbeatable. Yeah,
I think our forward line leaves a lot to be desired. We knew that going into the game. Wilson, didn't really have any opportunities whatsoever. He's the wrong side of 30, and it's a hard formation for him to play in. Still, I still think if he was playing in a two up front, then we might see a different side to Wilson. But we're not seeing that, and he doesn't fit that system. I thought Isak, when he came on, was brilliant. But again, he's not a goal scorer. I think Isak ran his heart out when he came on. He looks very, very talented. We need to find a way that we can slot him in and start him from starting next week. Because we spent £60-odd million on him, we can't leave him sitting on the bench. Other people who I would say come out of the game with a head held high, Karius. I thought Karius,
yes,
somebody who hadn't played at all since that Champions League defeat, where he's been ridiculed and for me wrongly so because of his concussion alone. But I thought he had a really, really good game, and I think Eddie Howe should reward him by making him number 2. I think he should be on the bench next weekend if Pope is back in the team for the Man City game. I think Karius has earned that right to be our second choice goalkeeper till the end of the season. And
Steve,
I also think there's a couple of players, George, that that need a rest. I would rest Almiron. I think he's tired. I think there's a problem. I think there's a problem with him at the moment and I think we're being found out. You rightly said there that Bruno got cancelled out of the game yesterday. Manchester United had 2 to 3 people round him at all times, and Ten Hag clearly said to them before they went out yesterday, let them have as much possession as they want, but close him down because he makes them tick. And that really, really cancelled any opportunities we had. And Bruno obviously ended up going off injured, sadly. But I also think that we've been found out, which often happens, especially with the break. Teams had time to look at how we're set up, what we do. We don't have a plan B. We need to find one. Maybe 4-3-2-1 is that plan B, but with a change of personnel. And I also think, as much as I love the kid, Dan Burn should be rested next week, and I think they should give, as long as he's fit and ready to take up a place, he was fit enough to be on the bench, give Matt Targett a chance of a comeback next week. You could rest Shaw. I don't know. You could play Burn and Botman together. I know we've had this debate at the start of the season about 2 left footers, but I would certainly give Dan Burn a rest. I wouldn't play SM next week. I would play Gordon. I just think there's so much we learned yesterday, which we've seen building up. But that's my assessment. I think the fans were great. The flags, etc., were fantastic. I think with the fact we tidied up Trafalgar Square, there's so many positives come from the weekend. But sadly, it's the same old feeling coming away from Wembley. Disappointed that we haven't won a trophy. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And for me personally, I had a cracking time. Spent some quality time with my dad and my brother. Then spent some quality time with Steve Hasty, John, Keith Patterson, and a couple of others, Joe and his dad, and Andre managed to pop in, and a few fans who joined us. We had a cracking night last night, and then met up with my old football teammates and got the train home this morning. So in essence, perfect weekend, but just such a pity that the ongoing search for a trophy now will now reach 68 years. But I tell you what, we will be back. It won't be 24 years. And bumping into Darren Eales this morning and having a quick chat with him before I got headed off for the train. I do believe that they'll get it right, but it's going to take time. Don't forget, people, we've overachieved. This time last year, we were 3rd bottom of the Premier League, and all we said we wanted from the new owners was a good cup run or 2, and not to be involved in a relegation battle. Well, look at that. You can tick that. We got to a cup final. and you can tick the fact we're not involved in a relegation battle. So for me, well done to Newcastle United. Job done. Now let's finish the job and try and finish as stable as possible and try and qualify for Europe, which would be fantastic. Sorry, George, I was in the middle of a rant.
That's fine. That's fine. No, and you were right to do it. Now, about Karius. There's a stat on Twitter today about Karius, the number of saves he made. He made more saves yesterday than most Premier League players making a normal match. The ratio of saves he made was top of the tree for the Premier League this season.
100%.
He did make some good saves, no doubt about it.
And just want to thank everybody at Wembley and London as well, because for me, and I'm sure Darren will have something to say as well. I mean, look, we know London's overpriced. We know things cost a lot, but the staff at Wembley were great. It was a bit awkward at first getting in. I think there was a few, depending on what time you went in, there was a few bottlenecks, which I think would have upset a few people. The need, I guess, and again, I'm not going to start a thing about ticketing here, but they do need to look at in the future where seats are for people who maybe are of a slightly older age who can't get upstairs. My dad struggled massively with the stairs yesterday. If George had gone yesterday and been in the seats that my dad was in, I don't know whether you would have got up to the level, George. It was
no, I wouldn't.
And there's escalators, but they need to look at that, George, definitely.
Yeah. My ticket would have sent us up there.
Yeah, thanks to everybody, as I say, who came over to see us as well. It was great to see everybody. So, Darren, on to you, mate. You were down there. How was your weekend, first of all?
Well, I left Sunday morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Got there nice and early, checked in the hotel, went to Wembley, had a great time talking to all the juries, had a bit of banter and all that, just good humour and all, we couldn't do it. The day itself was a great experience. To see, I've been in a League Cup final, I've been in the FA Cup. It's off the bucket list, I've done it, been there. Unfortunately, I just haven't seen them win at Wembley. But the game itself, I thought we played dreadful. But I think the occasion got the players a little bit. George, I said, I do agree with you, Steve. I think Amron needs the rest. He needs to start playing Matty Target left back, give Dan Burn a rest, because Dan Burn looks knackered at left back. Because you can tell on the overlap, Dan Burn kind of do the overlap, but Matty Target got more chance in getting down that wing and getting back. And Fabian Shea, he could, yes, that's great call. He can play Dan Burn centre half and rest Fabian Shea, but we need a couple of changes, and now we'll play Man City next, and that's going to be a hard game again. We'll all do a few blips, and after a few blips, will come a few more positives. But like you said, Steve, you hit the nail on the head. All we wanted is a team who'll go up there, give us passion, fight for the shirt, good cup run, and we're like, third bottom last year. Look where we are now. Top of the league, 41 points. The cup final, day out, and then you can't knock it. We didn't win. That's just one of them things. But Callum Wilson had a bad game yesterday, I think. Wrong side of 30. He needs to start playing Isak. Eddie Howe's got a few big decisions to make now. Come next 2-3 games. He needs? This is his test for Eddie Howe as well. I think he needs to start changing a lot to get the rest of the players, or get players chances to get in the squad a little bit more.
No, I would agree with most of what you've said, mate. And it's out of the frying pan into the fire next week. I mean, Manchester City away, it doesn't get much harder than that at the moment, especially in the form that we are in. What did you think of Karius?
Again, he done nothing wrong. Like, from my angle, like, I was high up. I thought he could have tossed his shade up, and then when I've seen on the sky, it did take a weird reflection. It looked like he just went over his hand, but I'm not falling for the goal. But he done what he could do with the club. He made good saves, and he done nothing wrong, didn't he? Like, see how I do. Has he made a shout to be number 2 for next week? I think he has, Steve. So he done himself good, and he done nothing wrong. So I'll give the lad a big round of applause. He done well.
Yeah, no, he really, really did. Have you seen Amanda Staveley's statement today? Since the final, we're gonna win. We're gonna go back. We're gonna win. We're gonna win the Carabao Cup. We're gonna win the FA Cup. We're gonna win the Premier League. And we're gonna win the Champions League.
Yeah, we on the call come back. We heard that while they did the big roar. Come on. It's good. It's good to hear that. At least the owner says, yeah, we're not giving up, and that's what you want to hear, don't you? Like you said, I don't think another 24 years we'll be back one. We'll be back there a lot quicker. It's just win and win.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Good evening, Vince.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, good to see you, mate. What was your take on it? Where did you watch it?
Yeah, it was Grosvenor Casino. Because like, there's a couple of my mates who live down in Liverpool, come up, want to come home and watch the match and all that. So we've got a table there now. It was all right. Like says, you got £15 back if you wants to bet the table, which you just blow straight away because you never win. Like says, so that was that was class. But the game itself, was started off quickly, and it's like says again. I think luck as well has a lot to do with it. Newcastle ain't got much luck. If one of them chances, like Maxi's or Almiron's, they had a couple of chances. If one of them goes in, it's a total different story. If we just scored first, changes it. But then, like I said, I didn't think it was a free kick. It was very soft. Rashford got into that. I didn't think it was a free kick. I thought his Manu was ever getting a lot of decisions go their way. The free kick come in. I've looked at it. Like Casemiro's foot the line against her. I love VAR. It's just again but like it says, it's just they had a couple of chances, took them. We didn't. We had loads of opportunities, but again, it's like Malcolm. It's like everyone says, with your wingers, you've got to feed in goals, delivery into the box, and just like says Mickey just was no. And again, it's frustrating. Mickey hasn't got the right foot. He got to the line. And then he turned back and you go and just dink it in, but he's got no right foot. He won't have a go with it at all. It's a problem. And that's definitely where you've got to create these chances. We've had players in the past. You've seen right wingers like Keith Gillespie, Scott Sellers, get to the line, get the ball in. That's what you want to see. And Mac yesterday, he did the skills and all that again, but it's like, what he likes is he's just distribution that get the ball in. He was keep on trying to beat the man a bit more. You think just put the ball in a bit quicker. And it's just consistency with them, and it's just not there. And I think when he was we'll call him for Isaac to come on. I was seeing take Mickey off and maybe put him on the wing because that's what he does. He runs, takes the ball he'd create an opportunity in that. But How did what he could. He took Longstaff off and just went for it, put Isaac on. Like he says, I think Isaac played well, and I think that's what he more is. He's not like a sit up front number 9. Yeah, he plays off. He comes from deep. You see how well he carried the ball. He looks good on the ball every time he's got it. He did well with it, kept it, run all the time, laid it off well, played well. You're right about what they were doing with Bruno. They just went in hackles and all that. But I thought the thing is, they tried. They went there and they did try. You've seen the effort from the lads there, and that's what we want to see. Because a couple of times we went there recently and we didn't even do that. It was abysmal. We've been in the past. At least they did try. You see the effort was there, but it is. You can see where it is. We've got they've got a bench that can bring on players. Most of ours, we are we're in a process. We are well ahead of it, and there's things that what this is. I think, and it is kind of good. It highlights areas a bit more where we do need to improve these games, last few games and all that highlights that as well. And I think we're gonna improve. We're gonna come back. And I wasn't I was good at it, but I wasn't totally good at because it's just. We didn't expect this to happen this season. It was great. I was good to see the fans are how well they did down there and all that. It was brilliant from the fans. Nice to see that man who can fork out for some scarves because the fans can't afford their own.
That was bloody weird. They did it because they were clearly worried about war flags as display and didn't want to be belittled.
Yeah.
That was the whole point, and they knew we were bringing our scarves. But the fact that the irony for me was they were singing in one breath, "We want Glazers out, we want Glazers out," and then in the other breath, waving a flag that he'd bought them, a scarf, so exactly. They bought them. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's what they are. They're fan-based, man. The reason why we didn't see Man U fans all about travelling down there, because all of them live in London anyway. You don't find many Manchester United fans in Manchester. It's just it's terrible. It's just they weren't the fans and all that, but our fans, they were proud. Wore flags to play. It was excellent as ever. Really good. It's good to see that. Just on the telly, the way it looked, the whole black, it was amazing. Looked really good all the way through that. It was just immense, that. But also, commentators, Jamie Carragher. Why wasn't again no Newcastle? Jamie Carragher, what? I wouldn't have. He said we're 2-0 up, going, Newcastle, Man U the better team. No, they weren't. At that point, we were still playing well and all that. They just hit with twice and done with. And it just, no. But that was it. Again, commentators, they had Gary Neville, Jimmy Carragher, where was the one for Newcastle? No, not there. Annoyed us, really did annoy us. But we've been there, we went down. We didn't expect it. We're all going to be back. We're all going to build and all that. And it's just something I'm just looking forward to going. Karius, Jamie Carragher saying, he should, and that was it as well, kept on saying, Karius on that second goal, he should have done better. He was saying that all the way through it. And he couldn't. He was reacting to the first shot by Sterling, so he was going down, and the deflection caught him off. And he still tried, and nearly got his hands to it. I thought he played really well. Really, really well. I thought he did a great job. So there's some positives that have come out of it. I like the attitude that go on, they tried, and I love when Joe Linton shoved Anthony to the floor, then pulled Casemiro doing as well for the show as well. I like that a little bit as well. But the passion and all that. But yeah, we know this was early for us, and go that, and we'll be back. We're going to improve and we're going to get better, and that's the thing. We are.
Great stuff, Kevin. You were obviously at stateside watching it, mate. What was your take?
Just proud of where I come from. We showed who we are as people, what we've done. The flags, all the rest of it. Not going to go into that, and that's what we do. When we go there, we'll go in numbers and we'll back our team like proper team should. Regarding the game, I thought 20 minutes. In the other phrase, we got beaten 6 to 10 minutes. Essentially, I think when we'll go and jumping into the second half, I think we'll look better in the 4-2-3-1. I thought they won the midfield battle, like we discussed last week. The midfield battle was going to be key, and I thought they did that. Bruno tried to control the game, but he was getting sounded out by, like others have said, Casemiro just kicking lumps out of people. Fred was getting involved, and then McTominay comes on and does exactly the same. So that was their game plan. Not that they played better than us. Again, they just took chances. I thought worst player in the park by country mile was Callum Wilson. I remember one where Sean Longstaff played a lovely ball across the sea. I mean, 3 yards out, and if you're a top centre forward, you're standing or busting it to get there, and it didn't happen. Thought the first goal, like Lord Vader said, was a little controversial because I'm still trying to figure out how his right shoulder is still not beyond our back line, even though they didn't draw lines and stuff like that. But hey, look, it is what it is. We got there, with the bride. It will be a bride someday. We just got to meet the right fella to, go home. So no, but it was just nice to see, and I might talk about it later. But like I've told everybody here multiple times, and it went around Twitter, Facebook, YouTube in a hurry about what Darren Neal's done and the club done for War Flags and all of that, and that's what he does, standing there with a pint in his hand, singing songs and just being amongst the fan group, and that's what biggest thing taken away outside of the game. That is a connection being deeper than just the game of football itself. Because again, I've had the experience of here when he was in Atlanta, and that's what he done pretty much every weekend. And he brought everybody together, even though, you know, the results wasn't what we expected or what we wanted or hoped. It was just a disappointing one. You know, it's just disappointing. You get there, you think you can bring something home, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But again, it was a little emotional one for me because I've been at Wembley and with my dad and things like that, and I couldn't get there, obviously living here. And thankfully I had tickets for his friends and his mates from work and stuff. But yeah, it was a little emotional one, watching it and seeing it, and the envy from my end to think, wish I was there. But obviously I couldn't be there. But yeah, it was, you get there, we got there, but it's just, we need to get there again as soon as possible. But I think there's, like the lads have said, we'll have to do something at the top end of the pitch. We'll have to get somebody in to be that 25 goals a year striker. That's the most disappointing thing, because I think, in my opinion, Cam Wilson was aloof. Not that he didn't want to be there. I just think he just couldn't be asked, really. That's how it come across. His first touch was poor. His link-up play was poor. And he relies on others. And I remember one moment in the game in the first half that Miggy was doing his job, doing like chasing, doing, you call them doggies, where he was just chasing. And I thought, hold on, can you not do that? I know it might be an injury thing. It might be, like George has discussed, an illness thing. What's going on? Can we know? We need to find out. But I thought, it's just a disappointing one, but totally enjoyed the occasion. It was a TV spectacle. It is what it is. We'll get there again.
We will do. Yep. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, everybody.
Good to see you, mate. Give us your take, mate, on the final.
Well, when it eventually got onto the final from Sky, because it was covering the Tottenham Chelsea game, and it overstretched. But I saw the display from War Flags, which was absolutely brilliant. And, when the game did start, I thought we gave as good as we got. And then round about, I think it was the 35 minute mark, it started to go downhill. And, that free kick, wow. That VAR needs to be looked at seriously with that. And from there, Rashford popped up and did his thing. And the one thing, I mean, Kev said it just before there, in the final third, we had nothing, absolutely nothing. And if you've got nothing in the final third, you're on a hailing out, you know. And I was so disappointed because, like, second half, I just kept getting that annoying circle on me television where it was trying to connect. My broadband's atrocious, but to everybody who went down, brilliant. I heard of one of the Sky Sports people that there was 150,000 down there in London. Amazing achievement.
Yeah, it was amazing, Paul. Fantastic to be there, and great to be part of a wonderful occasion. And no Newcastle fans disgraced themselves either, which is the main thing. Barry, good evening.
Hello, lads. You all right?
Good to see you.
Very.
I thought you were down for 7, so I wasn't rushing.
Well, we were only because, and I did announce it on Friday, so you may not have seen that, but I just said I would stick it down for 7 because I couldn't be sure that the train was going to get us back on time, but I managed to get an earlier train, so I got back earlier. So anyway, you were right, but I did manage to get it back to 6, which is great. Go on, then, mate. What's your views?
It's just, I mean, given their dues, they tried their hearts out. I think the team did us proud. I think individually there was errors across the board. Dan Burn didn't have a particularly good game again. I think Man U deliberately targeted Bruno to take him out the game as much as they possibly could and as quickly as they could. Wilson, ineffective yet again. I think we've got serious concerns about why he's just not. He doesn't seem to be getting any better. For me, he's at a level where he's whether it's fitness, whether it's confidence, whether it is long COVID that people have talked about, he doesn't seem to be getting any better. Yes, Sam had a decent game, but again, as my friend Super Mac would say, he didn't achieve anything. He didn't. He went too much backwards and forwards with the ball and just got taken off him. I think for me, guys, it shows us where we're at. I think we've reached a level where we're, like we said the other day, and George was making comments about that, we're overachieving, that we're way ahead of where we should be position-wise to how much ability we've actually got in the squad. And it showed. It showed. I think Man U were the better team. I think I was sitting thinking about it sort of through the second half. I think would get in there anyway. I think you're looking at Bruno, you're looking at Botman, and possibly Trippier to get into the Man U side. Other than that, they're a stronger side most of the way around. And they had the better of us again. I was gutted for the likes of Steve and everybody who went down, because obviously that's another trip to Wembley where we just haven't performed. We've tried, but something's been lacking. I think for me, the pluses, I suppose, is the confidence I've now got in the club and the owners and Eddie Howe, that he knows now what needs doing, that he's going to look to build, he's going to look to bring new players in. It's out the way. It's a defeat. You know, you take it on the head. We weren't hammered. I think the score flattered them quite a bit by the end of the game. I think, unfortunately, we didn't have chances. We didn't have the chances to score, but we had the play to score, if you know what I mean. We had enough going forward and putting them on the back foot to create the chances, but then we didn't have the end product, which I think is a worry for the end of the season. I don't think Isaac's a striker. The more and more, I think he looks as though he's made to play in Miggy's position, which the way Miggy's playing at the minute, I would have him there. I think Miggy's going through a bad patch as well. Just disappointed. Not gutted, because I think we got to the final. We did well to get to the final, looking at some of the earlier rounds results. And I think parts of the team performed as well as they could. I was over the moon to see Bruno back, because I think he's the heartbeat of the team. But I think it just shows we need another 2 or 3 Brunos if we're going to realistically challenge for that sort of trophy next season.
It's a fascinating summer ahead for Newcastle, I think, with money money that needs to be spent, and we will be able to spend big in the summer. But again, we're not going to be able to fill all the positions, Barry. I think ultimately we'll need, from my perspective now, having watched the team over the last few weeks, I think it's quite clear we need a goal scorer, somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net. We need a creative and a defensive midfielder. I think we need both, and I think we need two decent wide men. We've got Gordon in, and maybe Isaac can be the one on the right. We could have Gordon on the left. But again, you need back, you need cover. It's not going to happen overnight. We know that, and I know that's the frustrating thing. The takeover happened. You expect suddenly to be splashing cash and being the best team in the league, but it's going to take time. We've just got to sit back and enjoy the ride and just be satisfied with where we end up in the league, and hopefully there'll be some, there will be some changes. We know Joe Linton suspended at the weekend. That's a blow. We know that Bruno's injured. There's been no word from the club on what is going on there yet, and how long he could be out for, but he certainly limped off. So there's 2 people who won't be playing next week, and there'll be other things that come up over the next couple of weeks. But I just want to ask you about Karius as well, because I've picked him out really as a decent performer, and I think it would be good for him to be rewarded, Barry, by being given that number 2 goalkeeping role.
I think he went in, as somebody said on the news, he went into the deep end. Not really majorly at fault for either goal. And the deflection, I didn't think he could do a great deal about. Yeah, I think he's better. I think he'll replace Dubravka. I think he'll come in as second choice keeper, and he'll only improve from there. I think he looks reasonable. I don't think it's a position we need to worry about. My major thing straight away, there's something we can do, and I hate saying it because I love Dan Burn as much as any other player in the squad, but is it time to bring Target in?
Yeah.
If he's anywhere near fit, because Burns getting skinned right, left, and centre. His confidence seems to have gone a bit, and I think Target would offer us that extra option. But as for Karius, I think it's a no-brainer. I think he's better than anybody else we've got other than Pope.
Yeah, Dan says, I don't get this. Isak is not a striker message. Just watched the Liverpool game. That was a ruthless striker. He's got it in him. He's just not played enough. Dan, it's interesting. We haven't seen enough of him to know what his best position is. And I'm not sure that the club knows what his best position is. We spent £60 million because we expected him to get goals, and he scored goals. But I don't think the formation that Eddie Howe plays gets the best out of him. The formation he switched to in the second half, that was possibly it, but he might end up stumbling on something here with as I say, with these injuries and suspensions now that we have. If Bruno and Joe Linton are both out, he's going to need to find a formation next week. So maybe sometimes that happens. Rafa Benitez did it when he was here. Injuries, he didn't like playing Sean Longstaff, and then injuries meant that he had to play Longstaff, and we ended up getting some great games out of him. So it'll be interesting to see. Isak should be the first name on the team sheet. Time for Wilson to be dropped. We should be looking to upgrade him this summer if we want to move on to the next level. Are we lacking a plan B? It was funny. My dad said yesterday, it makes you wonder whether they were too hasty getting rid of Chris Wood and Shelby. Without replacements. And I've got to be honest, I could see where he was coming from, although we do know that if Shelby played another couple of games, then we would have had to give him a new contract. And, that was probably the reason. Plus, he did want to go. Lots of permutations, lots of things we can discuss. I'm going to put the ads on now. They are slightly out of date because obviously I haven't had time to record them with us being away. I will address this and sort them out for tomorrow.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, starting with Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can order them from mrvickies.co.uk, email them at info@mrvickies.co.uk, or call them on 01768 210 102. Why not try some new beers at Blowhole Brewery? You can find them at blowholebrewery.co.uk. Thanks also to United Group Travel, UK coach holidays based in Morpeth. Telephone 01670 362 460 or mobile 07957 141 654. Graham, your driver, Beverly answering your calls and looking after you on your tour. Thanks also to 3 Properties. They specialise in sourcing investment properties for their clients who are looking to invest in the Northeast. They offer a full in-house service from sourcing the deals to managing the properties for you. They've done over 100 plus deals in the last 12 months for clients all over the UK. Give the guys a follow on Instagram, matty.patter_northeast property and phil.reed_northeast property, or email phil@3property.co.uk if you're interested in getting a good property deal. Thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. Thanks to Media Arts for all the videos. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button underneath this video today. Hit the thumb up to like the video and click share to your social media. If you're out and about, you can catch us as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and the rest. If you want to join the channel, click join and you'll find out our membership packages down there. Very easy to do. Or if you want to become a cult member, £25 a month, go to nufcmatters.com and look for membership pack, or put your smartphone over the QR code and it will take you straight there. Anyone who subscribes to the channel will get a free car sticker. To get your car sticker, simply email john@nufcmatters.com. Got a few events coming up over the next few weeks. Steve Howie, Friday the 24th of February at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets available for £29 on voucher. And even with Nobby Solano, Saturday the 25th of March, tickets £15. Book at nufcmatters.com. Nobby Solano is also at Felling Cricket Club on Good Friday the 7th of April at 4 o'clock. Tickets are £10 and available behind the bar. And an evening with Frank Clark and John Gibson, Thursday the 20th of April, that's at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets are £15. Book now at nufcmatters.com. We've also got a vast array of t-shirts available at the website. If you want your special Wembley t-shirt, you can go to nufcmatters.com and get one now while stocks last.
Okay, plenty of chat going on in the YouTube community here. Tom Lynch says, afternoon, what time did everyone arrive back? For me, I got to Central at 2 a.m. on the charter train, which was not a great experience. Longer journey, 6 hours on a train out of the 1960s, and I'm not joking. But I got back earlier, mate. And Darren, what time did you get back?
3 o'clock, mate.
3 o'clock. I got back about 1:30. Brian says, Steve Howie and John Anderson said after the game on Radio Newcastle that Wilson looked disinterested all match. I can't help but feel the lack of competition for places is breeding his complacency. That's, possibly that is it. He's got nobody breathing down his neck, has he? BT says, when teams sit deep, we do really struggle to break teams down. We don't really have a number 10. A lot of people asking whether Dubravka was there to get his medal. I certainly didn't see him celebrating with the Manchester United team. I think it'll be sent out to him. I don't even think he was at Wembley, to be honest. Eddie looked as if he was in tears. He was there, was he?
He was in the crowd. There was a photograph of him there. Watching the match.
If he was in the crowd, that's fair enough. I mean, he's in. That was fair enough if he was there, but he didn't go for his medal. That's fair enough. Okay, then Dan saying, I'd love to see 4-2-3-1. Barry, I'll start with you. We'll go the opposite way around. Start with you first. What would you like to see? Let's say the team is fully fit, and you can pick your side. What are you going to do? Who are you going to leave out? You've already mentioned you'd probably rest one or two, but what do you think? What do you think Eddie Howe should do now in this last few games?
So Pope's automatic. He's not going to change there. Trippier, same thing. Botman, centre half. I would look bringing Target in at left back, which gives you the option to rest either Byrne or Shaw in this centre of defence alongside Botman. Longstaff. It's pretty much your first choice. Bruno. You look back to when Joe Linton was playing on the left-hand side. We looked a much better side. I'm not saying ASM's the issue by any means, but we looked more confident. We looked more organised. Whether that's Bruno being there as well or not, I don't know. I think Miggy needs a break. I think you mentioned it the other day, Steve, that he might be one of the ones. There's no reason Gordon can't play on the right-hand side. I mean, we've got a couple. I have to say, Fraser, Fraser for me sometimes is just a big carrot. He came on and he just chomped at them. He's a couple of last-minute sort of ditch efforts by Fraser when they were coming forward when we were all down their end. I'm just well impressed with him. I thought he did us a few saves. It's a hard one, isn't it? Because it's if you stick Isaac up front instead of Wilson, is he going to get us the goals? I'm not sure. I know his performance against Liverpool made him look like the striker, but I think that was more his natural ability than it was being suited that position. I think he just did well in that game. He hasn't really recreated it since. So I think and like you guys said, I mean, I'm in the camp of yes. I'm happy Shelby went. Yes, I think Wood should have gone, but we should have replaced them.
Yeah, I think you meant Murphy, and I didn't want to interrupt you, but I think you meant Murphy, not Fraser. Yeah. You were right there, Dan. But yeah, I knew who you meant. I thought, I haven't mentioned him actually, but Murphy did do okay when he came on, and
he gave it a go.
He gave it a go, 100%. He gave it a go. Yeah, Paul, what would you do? What would you change if you had a fully fit squad to pick from? What would be your 11? Can you think about it? Would you change anything in the goalkeeping department? Would you keep Nick Pope in? What would you do with the back four?
Well, I'd keep Pope in between the sticks.
Yeah.
Have Karius as number 2.
Yeah.
Bring Target in and basically, could we do like up front, Isaac and Callum together? You know,
So would you play him just off him, or would you play him just off him like in the number 10 role? Would you look at playing four? Would you go to that 4-4-2, which everyone says is a dinosaur formation? Is that what you're trying to say?
it is a dinosaur formation, but you see, every other team in the Premier League knows what we're going to do. So, you know, in the remaining games, as I've said, you know, in my videos most of the morning, we need to get back to what we did before the World Cup, because we were firing goals in left, right, and centre, and that got us to third in the league. You know, we've got to like energize our players to turn around and say, right, between now and the end of the season, let's get back to third. And then, you know, the woes of yesterday, well, they're just like dust in the wind, you know, because we will be in the Champions League, and that's the promised land.
But do you not think the teams are just how we play though? It's way too obvious now. That's the trouble you've got. Harry's saying go back to the way how we used to play, but that's what we're discussion is. We're coming too obvious how we play, so that's why we need a new formation, a new fresh legs in the team to change it up a bit.
Yeah, it's an injection. I mean, at the end of the day, from what I saw from the Gallagher, if the last game at when we played Liverpool, we didn't have any ideas, you know, and we need players like Isaac who come in, give Miggy a rest, because Miggy just runs and runs and runs, you know. Bring in Gordon, who, you know, fresh set of legs, and I think, to be honest, come the summer, we need another Bruno from, you know, maybe from Europe or somewhere else. But we've got to have backup. And sadly, you know, I mean, the way it went because we only got Gordon in, you know, we need to do something. And I think the owners will do that.
Okay, Kev. What's your thoughts on formation? And you know what we've discussed it a little bit.
There's a lot of ways you can go. I know I watched a bit of Man City, especially in Europe this past week, and they went to a 3. They manipulated their system and how will they go. But again, I'd be the controversial coach of my mindset and what I would do to overload a midfield to win that midfield battle, because I feel that's where we're losing in a lot of games. So just hear me out. You can look at it as a 3-5-2. You can I look at it as a 3-4-1-2. With Pope and goal, Shaw, Botman, and Byrne across the back, so you have balance. Then you can play Kieran Trippier, Matt Targett as the 2, pushing beyond and going up and down, because I believe they can do that. And Kieran Trippier's done that for England. Matt Targett's more of an attacking type, but good defensively on that left side. Then you've got Bruno, Sean Longstaff sitting is the 2 number 6, or a 6 and an 8. Then I would put Anthony Gordon is the number 10 with Wilson and Isak up front. So it's like an inverted triangle. You've got your base defensively, which you'll have 5. It's like with Bruno, Longstaff, Shaw, Botman, and Byrne is the 5 defensively. And then you can create the 7 with your 2 wing backs. And then you've got pace with Gordon, Wilson, Isak.
Interesting.
So you can manipulate it however you want to manipulate it. You can even go to a 3-5-2. It's not negative. It's just what we have. Yes, give Miggy the rest, give ASM a rest, do all of that. You can even play Isak up there, and you can play ASM along beside him. A little big and little type of idea, because he's got a bit of pace. Or even put Miggy up in there, because he's played, again, from Atlanta United days, he played as a 10. So it depends on which way you want to go. But that's for me, that would be a different type of midfield, because I think you've got combativeness with Gordon in there. Bruno can play. Longstaff can break the ball up with his height, and you've got two people with natural balance with Target and Trippier who can probably put a ball in the box.
So run it past us again, Kev, just so people can get
Pope and goal. Fabian Shaw right side of a 3. Botman central of a 3. Dan Burn left of the 3.
Yeah.
Kieran Trippier right wing back.
Mm-hmm.
Target left wing back. Bruno Longstaff or even you can put Joe Linton in there, but I would think as a more of a defensive minded, you will go Longstaff. You can put then Gordon sitting in front of them, and then Wilson Isak.
Yeah, I like it. I do
You
like
realise, mine, Steve, this will be on the newspapers tomorrow.
Yeah,
The
probably.
NUFC Matters says Newcastle new formation 3-5-2 by expert tune coach.
3-4-1-2, different.
3-4-1-2.
So it depends how you look at it. And by the way, if they're looking for a coach, I'm quite happy to come home and coach with me, to be honest. But it's just my opinion, and I just say I think that we'll get the best out of Wilson and Isak. You can again make it even differently where Isak can drop in behind again, so you can. It's like a weird central midfield concoction, if you will, but there's different roles in what they can do. Isak can drift wide, leave it Wilson on his own, and let Isak just drift and float around him, because I think that's what he does. And Barry, I agree with you. These Liverpool goals, if you look at it, he was drifting into channels as like a wide man, and creating those runs and beyond. But again, that's the role of a centre forward as well. So he's like a hybrid essentially. You just got to find where he fits. So that's the way I'll go, just to again put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit and create a bit of a debate. And I've used this type of system before. It's worked somewhat, depending on what players you have. And I think that'll be, you're not putting square pegs in round holes. I think you're going to be giving the players that opportunity who can play in those positions in certain areas, and give them the license to do what they do well.
Look, it's all about opinions. A lot of people saying, Vince, that Anderson should be given a chance. Alan Thompson's leading the way in the chat with that one, and other people agreeing with him. But then some people, Paul Chollerton, saying, I don't think Anderson's the answer. Loan him to a championship club first. I'm sorry, but he's not the level we need to win stuff. Lots of debate there. But people shocked at Kev's formation that he's dropped. He hasn't put Joe Linton in, rather going with Longstaff. But he did say you could put Joe Linton in there, but he would prefer Longstaff. It's just his opinion. What's your perfect squad, Vince? Your perfect team, sorry.
Well, it's a difficult one. But do you remember what Nobby said his team would be?
Go on, remind us.
Thursday. It was, I think it was Target in left back. And I think he said Botman and Burn.
Yeah.
Centre halves with obviously Trippier on the right. But then he said, I'm sure he said, was it Gordon, Bruno, and Longstaff, and then I'm sure. No, sorry, you didn't see it. He said Bruno, Willock, and Longstaff. Sorry, yes, and then Gordon on the left, Isaac on the right, and Joe Linton up front.
That's right, he did. Yeah,
he did. Nobby said Joe Linton up front. And he's kind of looking at it. What Wilson offered were Joe Linton could offer. You kind of look at it and go, well, he's bigger, he's stronger. He would cause a nightmare for them, centre halves. He would play, but I think he could bring players in a bit more. So I can kind of see what Solano says about that. Bringing players to play up. But I definitely think Isaac, you're looking at, I don't think he's not like Wilson. He's not out and out nine. He play at the back. He likes to run with the ball. And like Kev says, you look at the goals of Liverpool. Someone said, striker, but he ran from deep. He ran so that's what he does. He creates. I think he likes to run with the ball at his feet. You've seen him against Man United. He looked confident with the ball in his feet. He could move it, so he plays deeper on that. So I would like to say that definitely get more out of him. But I think from a deeper place and all that, But I would maybe think about Solano's have a go at that one. But we said with Wilson and all that, for us to do what we need to do, would definitely need you need a striker who's going to get you 20 odd guaranteed goals a season, but we need the delivery as well. I want to see proper like his Mickey, great workhorse and all that. But it's that right on the right, why we couldn't get looking for 2-footed players, just Jerry, they're out there, get them on the left or right, you know what I mean? I want to see the balls coming in, and that's what we don't do too much of. Keep on cutting back, trying to cut in, and that's how we're reading them. When we do need to change, we'll get to the byline, put the balls in, chase it in. So it's different style and all that, but everyone's got their opinions, and you're different. Just got to try and all that,
That's why Eddie Howe gets paid the big bucks, Darren.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, mine would be Nick Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Dan Burn, and Target 100%. And I'll play a 4-2-3-1, change it right up. I'd play Bruno and Joe Willock, and I'd play Anthony Gordon on the right side. Behind him, that's a hard one. I'll play ESM. I think ESM's more better behind the forward. I think he's more created. On the left side, I would play Joe Linton, and I would play Isak up front. But ideally, I would like to play Isak on the right. But I think he's got the capability to beat the fullback and take them on more. But we I'll play Isak up front, ESM behind him. Anthony Gordon and Joe Linton.
Interesting. Lots of different teams, lots of different opinions. George, last but by no means least, give us
isn't Joe Linton suspended anyway, isn't he? So he's not.
I'm not necessarily talking about next week because we're
okay.
I'm saying if you had a fully fit squad to pick from,
right? Okay.
What would be your pick now?
Well, I quite like what Kevin's suggesting as a means of shaking things up. But I've got to say my struggle would be to find a place for Wilson, because strikers in the past were used to strikers who didn't just wait for other people to make chances. They make chances for themselves. And on yesterday, there was first quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, there were 2 or 3 balls from Trippier and from Miggy went across that penalty area, only a yard from the goal line, and Wilson was nowhere to be seen. If that had been our friend Uncle Alan, he would have been in the back of the net with a ball. There'd be no doubt about that. So I'm not. So I would. I like what Kevin's suggesting, but I would be doing something slightly different and to shake it up altogether. And I would Isak up front. And I think I might put Anthony Gordon alongside him because he's got the height and the bustle to go alongside it. And I would try also think about trying Miggy in the place he plays for his country. That's the place that brought him here when he played in America. Rafa seen him scoring tons of goals from the number 10 position from the edge of the penalty area. And that's why he brought him. Yet we don't see it. We've ever used him properly in that position and give him a run in that position. So why not have a go now, give him the chance to have a go? Otherwise, I like what Kevin suggested.
Okay, great show as always. Look, we've got to.
What's your team, Steve?
Got to enjoy. Well, go on. I'll give you my starting 11. I think I like 4-4-2, and I know people say it's a dinosaurs formation, but 4-4-2 is something I still think Newcastle United could carry off. I think they need to be adaptable. I think Kevin's suggestion is a great one. I do agree. Out of all the teams that you suggested, I would go Nick Pope in goal. I would go Kieran Trippier at right back. I would go Matt Target at left back. I would play Dan Burn and I would play Botman together because they've not played together on a regular basis. I'm of the belief that despite them both being the same foot, they can both play together. I don't see a problem with that. I think they would probably complement each other, to be perfectly honest. And I think in your centre of midfield, I would play Bruno and I would play Big Joe. I would play Gordon on the left. I would play Isak on the right. And here's my controversial one. I would play Callum Wilson and I would play Joe Willock up front.
Ooh. He's got the pace. He's got the Bellamy style to him that he could be to Wilson.
He would be dangerous.
Joe Willock needs that belief. you can do it. These not believe you can do
It'd
it.
be dangerous. Yeah.
I just think Joe Willock, right, scored those goals when he came on loan, arriving late in the box. And I think with Callum Wilson knocking the ball down and playing with his back to goal, I think that would be a dangerous partnership. And I think 4-4-2 would suit us. And I think you've just got to make sure that people graft and do the bit. And then you've got a decent bench then. You know, you'd have either... You would have Fabian Schär for starters as cover for your back four. You would have ASM, of course, who could come on as an impact. You'd have Almiron, who would come on as an impact. You know, for me, it's just having that option and having the opportunity to do it. You'd have Elliot Anderson. I know a lot of people rate him, but he will be another one who could come on and do the business. But I think what we've got to do is we've got to be flexible. We've got to look at different formations. Somebody's just said there, none of you want to. Surely nobody wants to go in the Champions League with this squad. Well, I would agree. Yeah, I'd be happy to qualify to Europe. It's too soon for the Champions League. The only thing qualification for the Champions League would bring Newcastle is they would attract better types of players who would want to play in Champions League. However, we're still strangled by financial fair play, and that's the problem. So yes, we'd be able to, would probably attract better players, but would we be able to buy them? Would we be able to bring them in? It's amazing. Lots of people liked all the different teams, so it was worth asking you that, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Eddie Howe at the weekend. Obviously, we're going to be struck with injuries. I'm not sure if I'm going to Man City yet, so if I'm not, I will do a match day live, so I'll let you know later on the weekend. I'm still working on what time I'll be doing my podcast tomorrow, but I will be back tomorrow. George, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, just I was wondering if any of you noticed this cringing everybody time somebody said he's a left-footed, he's a right-footed, he's a left-footed. Jesus, man, the money they're getting, if they can't go out in a bloody training ground and be coached to use the bad foot, the number of hours I spent at St James's car park kicking the ball against the gym wall with the coaches shouting left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And, yes, I'm a right footer naturally, but I could play either side. And it was just coached into us. Why aren't these people that's getting all this money doing that with these people? It just makes me cringe. Sorry to go on a rant about that.
No, that's what the show's for, the fans forum. As always, thanks to George, thanks to Darren, thanks to Vince, thanks to Kevin, thanks to Paul, thanks to Barry, and thanks to you guys for watching. Thanks to all the moderators
Good to see you,
as well.
lads.
Take care.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.